So hello, welcome back to Go Again Gaming. My name is Az, and today we're going to be speaking about 5 ideas that I have that can improve Ranger, or most likely Azalea. Before we go into it, please make sure you like and subscribe and hit the little bell notification if you want to be notified of any future videos, and check out my link tree in the description box below for all of my links to my socials, web stores, and all that sort of good stuff. So go and check that out. So, Azalea. I speak a lot about Azalea, and I recently spoke to Joey on Decks and Draughts about how you can potentially improve Azalea and make her more consistent and all that sort of thing, and the ideas that we want to see going forward from Legend Story Studios to, you know, show some love for classic Ranger, classic Azalea, the pits, the assassin-style Ranger that we have, rather than the elemental nonsense that we received in Aria. Nonsense, probably a strong word to use. It's cool, but it's not the OG Ranger, which a lot of us do love. So I come up with sort of 5 cards or 5 ideas for cards that, you know, could see a lot of play in Azalea decks or Ranger decks. And yeah, leave a comment in the section below as to how you feel these cards or these mechanics could work, whether they're broken, or, you know, I love a good speculation video. So let's get straight into it. So the first one that I came up with is a card called Tricks of the Trade. So this pitches for 1, and it costs 1 to play. It's an attack action, so it's not an arrow card, and it's an Azalea specialization Majestic. So when you attack with this card, or when you attack with Tricks in the Trade, you may choose an arrow card in your graveyard. If you do, Tricks of the Trade becomes a copy of that card until end of turn, and it does attack for 4 and blocks for 3. So if you choose not to copy an arrow card in your graveyard, it will simply just be a 1 for 4 Azalea specialization, just an attack that you can use without a bow or without something in your arsenal, which I think is one of the main problems that Ranger has, is not being able to play things if you haven't loaded your arsenal. And the fact that Ranger doesn't have access to a weapon that doesn't attack on its own. And a lot of people have said that that is one of the main things. And a lot of us were hoping for like a sidearm in Everfest, and nothing has been released as of yet, so I don't think that is the case, although we are still amid the spoilers, so when this video comes out, it could well be that we've had that already. So this video could age really poorly. But yeah, I just want to get those ideas, these ideas out there, because Ranger does need the support. So yeah, Tricks of the Trade, basically what it allows you to do is attack from hand without having to have a bow in your arsenal, but it also copies an arrow in your graveyard that you fired with before, or you've had to block with before. So it just gives you more copies of those horrendous arrows like Red in the Ledger and Remorseless and all that sort of thing. So instead of having to run your Memorial Grounds to put those cards back on top of your deck, you can just simply copy it out of your graveyard if you've had to block with it, or if you've shot it on a previous turn. So I think something like that would be quite good, and thematically it does work, because obviously Azalea is a bit of a scoundrel. She's an assassin. She works and she contract kills for money in the pits, so scavenging around for arrows that you've already shot at your opponent does seem like something that would thematically fit into that sort of pits style vibe that she comes from. So Tricks of the Trade, I don't know whether there's going to be card graphics for this, or whether I'm just going to put a little graphic up on screen, or whether I'll edit this at all, who knows. But yeah, Tricks of the Trade. The next card is a card I'm saying is called Bait and Goad. So this is a fantastic idea that me and Joey came up with on the video. I'll link his video in the description box below. But this is my sort of rendition of that conversation. So this is an aura, Majestic Aura, for Ranger. So it's a Ranger action, Aura Majestic. It pitches for 2, so it's a yellow strip, but it does cost 1 to play. And it's an aura that comes out, and it says, whenever an opposing hero attacks you, you may search your deck for a trap card and banish it. You may play that card this turn as though it were in your arsenal. Cards banished this way are not affected by any additional costs. And when you are dealt damage by an attack action card, destroy live bait, or destroy bait and goad is what I called it. Go again, and it blocks for 2. So basically this is an aura that stays out in play that deters attacks against you, because every time they attack you, you can go and search your deck for a trap card, you can banish it, and you can play it, because obviously the text says that you can play it as though it were in your arsenal, because traps can only be played from arsenal, which is a bit of a shame, but this card alleviates that, and it's a tutor for a trap every single time they attack you, which obviously punishes the go wide strategies. Not so much the big massive hits, I've got something for that later, but every time they attack you, you can go search your deck for a trap, put it in, banish it, and then play it as though it were in your arsenal zone. So it gives the opponent a reason not to attack, or a decision that they have to make every time they attack a ranger. And obviously rangers are known for not really being very good defensively, so this gives them a defensive buff and a decision that the opponent has to make every time that they attack, which I think could be awesome. And then it sort of alleviates the feel bad of having a trap in hand and not being able to use it. I was thinking that maybe this text could say, whenever an opposing hero attacks you, you may search your deck and hand for a trap card and banish it. So leave a comment in the section below as to what you feel could be fair. I still think that could be fair if you could search your deck and hand for a trap card. So it still means you can play traps that have ended up in your hand. You can banish them and play them as though they were in your arsenal with this card. So maybe I'm going to change that now. Let's say that you can search your deck and your hand for a trap card, banish it, and play it as though it were in your arsenal that turn. So yeah, that's live bait. And of course, this aura as well, it does block for 2. So that's live bait or bait and goad, whatever I want to call it. The next card I think Ranger could deal with is a card or something along the lines of being called a gap in the armor. So this pitches for 1 and it costs 1 to play, and it's a Ranger action, Majestic, and it just says your next Ranger attack gains +2 and cannot be defended by opposing heroes' equipment cards. So I think obviously we've had Red Zone Rogue spoiler with Dreadbore, and also we've got Released Attention now as well, that obviously just the archetype surrounding that now with Dreadbore and Release Attention, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in length on other videos in the future about the Everfest spoilers in detail, but that whole archetype of shooting a really horrible arrow at your opponents and making sure that it hits is going to be an archetype in itself, and that's the whole reason why Dreadbore is such a good piece for that, is because of the fact the static effect of the defense reactions can't be played from hand. I think it's from hand, at least. Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, a gap in the armor. This is just a card that I think could be awesome as well, just to add to a Ranger's arsenal, no pun intended, which allows you to get round equipments, because it's always horrible when you're facing a shadow player that has a carrion husk, because it blocks for 6, and that's basically every single arrow in the game is not going to get through if they block with that armor. So having to take an action that then gets round the armor, I think could be quite good. And it's not going to be broken, because having to string together all of these ways of getting around your opponent's defenses is still going to be hard to do, but having the ability to get round armor, I think, is another thematic way. If you think of the Lord of the Rings film, Legolas is always sort of firing around the gaps in the armor. It's that famous scene when the orc is running towards the wall and they're like, Aragorn shouting to Legolas, take him down, take him down. They're trying to shoot through the gaps in the armor. And I think that could be a really, really thematic way to give Ranger a nice buff that gets around high equipment blocks. So yeah, that's another idea that I had. And obviously that has Go Again as well. And that card also blocks for 2. So the next card is a card I'm calling Arrowhead Stab. So this pitches for 1, costs 1, Ranger defense reaction, Majestic. So pitches for 1, cost 1, Ranger defense reaction, Majestic. And it blocks for 3. So defense reaction that blocks for 3, costs 1. And it says, choose an arrow card in your graveyard. Deal 1 damage to your opponent unless they pay X, where X is the cost of the arrow card chosen. If they take damage this way, trigger the on-hit effect of the arrow chosen. So again, just another way of giving them a decision to make. Do you have a red in the ledger in your graveyard? If you do, you can grab that out of your graveyard basically and stab them for 1 damage. Now they can then choose to pay the cost of red in the ledger, which in this case is 1. If they don't do that, they are gonna get you are gonna get the on-hit effect of that arrow card that you've chosen out of the graveyard, which is absolutely vile in the case of red in the ledger, because they're coming into attack, you defense react, you grab your, essentially thematically, you grab that red in the ledger that you shot earlier and you stab them with it, and they then have to make a decision, right, do I pay 1, or do I only get 1 action next turn? What do I do? How do I get round this? And I think again, having those options for Ranger or Azalea, mostly, to force decisions when the opponent is attacking you and making them make more decisions when attacking you is just a thematic win. Rangers, they've got traps for a reason. They're using a bow for a reason. They're smart. They want to shoot from distance. They want to be able to, debilitate their opponents. They don't want to get in close combat. So why are they in close combat with the opponent? If they are, they should be stabbing them with these horrible, debilitating arrows, and the opponent should be having to make a decision every time they attack, which I think is a very, very good thematic way to deal with Ranger issues going forward. So yeah, Arrowhead Stab. So yeah, choose an arrow card in your graveyard, deal 1 damage to your opponent unless they pay X, where X is the cost of the arrow chosen. If they take damage this way, trigger the on-hit effect of the arrow chosen, and it blocks for 3 as well. So of course you still have to pay for it, but again, you're forcing that decision upon your opponent. And then finally, another way I think Ranger could deal with just huge, massive attacks is a card called All or Nothing. This could be broken, but I think the way I've sort of designed it's not. So All or Nothing. It pitches for 1, so it's a red strip, costs 2, Ranger instant, Majestic. So this is going to be similar to Feign Death. So it says the next time you were to take damage, prevent it. So for 2 cost, you can basically stop an entire attack. So you can stop an entire attack from happening, but the cost of that is the next part of text. So it says create an aura with whenever you take damage, double that damage. So basically this allows you to dodge a huge, horrible crippling crush or something like that. Some massive pulverizing attack, no pun intended. But then every single time you take damage after that, unless you somehow get rid of the aura, which is probably not going to happen in Ranger, you're going to take double damage every time you take a hit. So this is very much a last-ditch effort. I need to survive this attack that's coming in, and then I need to maintain control over the game afterwards, I think could be a fantastic way and a balanced way of a Ranger just saying, no, you can't hit me this turn, unfortunately. And now I'm going to try and maintain the tempo. I'm going to try and control you out of the game. But every time I take damage now, it's going to be doubled. So I do need to maintain that control. I think with the other cards that I've mentioned on this list, I think this could be a very, very cool thematic way of just countering an entire turn and getting a turn back and getting that tempo back as a Ranger. Because as a Ranger, it's hard to get that tempo back if you've been hit massively, because you still have to load your arsenal and all that sort of thing, and it's hard to jump through those hoops, especially with Azalea, because she doesn't have any talents that help. She's just literally using the Ranger card pool. But for those sort of 5 ideas, I think could be a really, really nice way to buff Ranger and give Ranger, or the original Azalea, I'm trying to say here, the tools that she needs to become a really, really good archetype or hero that cares about on-hit effects and making your opponent decide, is it worth attacking? What's gonna happen if I do, sort of thing, But hope you enjoyed it. And more videos coming soon regarding the second trip to Northampton for the King's Invasion. So stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification. Leave a comment in the section below as to what cards or abilities or designs you would like to see for Azalea or Classic Ranger. I would love to hear them. But yeah, my name's Az. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.